Welcome to the first live Q&A for Boise Real Estate. Super excited to be doing this. And it's been to take a lot of preparation to switch gears a little bit, as most of my stuff, as you know, is pre-recorded. So to do this live in front of you guys is fun. And this is a first for that. So I'm not saying I know what's going to be said, what questions we asked, how many people are going to get on. I know from other things I've done with live Q&As, so things in the past, that it does take a while for the live audience to ramp up. So we are going to get started. How this is going to work is, if you have questions, what you want to know, I can see actually just a few people getting on right now, which is encouraging. I've done a few of these past lives to 0 people before. And but what I want to see from you is questions in the chat box. I can see those as they come up. That's in the lower right. It should be in the lower right-hand corner or the right side of your screen. So if you have anything, please do chat in. Otherwise, I have a few things prepared to say about the market here. And then given that most of the YouTube people, you guys are from out of state, we will see how that plays out. And so because of that, I will be answering a lot of out-of-state typical questions. So first off, when we talk about this is Boise is what's going on with the market. I mean, people that right now, the question I get most frequently overall and just in real estate in general is, what's the market like? But right now, totally seeing a shift in, I'm just going to scoot this over here, a shift in that question. And it's, what do you think the future is going to hold? Or do you think this is a bubble? And something to the effect of, what type of prediction what type of crystal ball do you have for the bubble we're in? And I guess it's presumptuous. I think we all feel something. And whether or not that's a bubble, whether that's just an over exaggeration of prices, whatever it might be, something's definitely happening right now, right? And so the question that's on a lot of people's mind is, what's going to happen with this bubble? Max, thanks for chatting, and I'll read that in a sec. So we have, in my opinion, real estate, as you guys can generally guess, is pretty slow in the winter, right? Especially in Boise when the weather's lower, the temperature's lower, and that's kind of how real estate is. It's a little slower, but this winter was crazy. It's almost like people were in a frenzy, and not kind of like they're in a frenzy. They were in a frenzy. A house would get listed, and it was like, if that house has 4 walls and it looks like it passes the visual check, like I'm in, and I'm in for $50,000 over whatever you're asking, I'm in. Stories of $50,000 over, $120,000 over list price. It's crazy. One house I sold, I hope the buyers we won the bid by $121,000. Second place was $120,500. So we beat them by $500. Then we beat third place by $1,000. So like all right in there, like crazy people, just crazy, just getting in crazy prices to get their homes. Now, given that's what the market was and that's what people wanted, that was the fair market value. But and that marks, so like, January, February, March, April, May, June. I'd say May and June, we're kind of in this little, I don't call it a bubble, but some sort of cooling. We're definitely in a cooling right now. And so that's interesting, just because we've seen some outrageous behavior from everyone, and making some real estate contracts a little bit tricky to navigate, because you want to represent your buyers and get them a home inspection, where if you actually do a home inspection, you'd most likely be losing out on the offer, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, to get to the point of, it just was crazy, insane offers, insane prices, insane contingencies removed. And then all of a sudden we're now in some sort of cooling, which is fantastic, because buyers are able to actually act logically, at least halfway logically, in this whole process. And it's nice because when a home comes on the market, it's not like you have to make an offer unseen. Now, I know I actually have some Californians that are still making those unseen, sight unseen offers, or I use Californians with out-of-staters. And that's probably, and that's good. It's good to act fast when you have one that you love. But while at the same time, it's also good to be able to think logically and think, okay, is this where we like? Is this the area? Would we find this house better if it was in a different area? Like before, it was just like, it was a home, it looked good. And in some extent, you have to act when, in a home is you're going to bloom where you're planted. I firmly believe that. While at the same time, you're going to have some preferences in what you do. So that's kind of the state of the market right now. It's I don't know if that's detailed enough or you guys have more questions on that, but that is where we're at in the market, is in some sort of cooling off. I'm not saying it's declining. I am definitely not saying that, because that's just not what the stats show. The stats show that we're seeing some homes that used to be 3 days, median days on market, and now we're going to 6. We've at least doubled. Some areas we've tripled, some areas we haven't even doubled yet. So, and kind of in the valley, taking different cities and things like that. So if that makes sense. So if you have any more questions on that market, on the Boise market in general, and you guys know if you've seen me before, Boise, I use Boise synonymously with the Treasure Valley. Treasure Valley is all of Ada and Canyon County. Ada is Boise, Garden City, Eagle Star, Meridian, Kuna. Canyon is Nampa, Caldwell, Middleton, that area. And is there anything else? Yeah, that's about it. So that's what I do for that. So let's see. Mark, thank you for chatting in. My wife and I are thinking about moving to Boise after she retires next year. We're visiting next week to see how we like the area. Mark, it's awesome. That's usually how it starts out, right? So it's usually a visit, just kind of a cold visit. Email me, man. Email me, and I can point you in the right direction of just if it's just like a home driving tour, that I can tell you where to drive. If you're wanting to meet up and I'm here in the area, we can meet up and things like that. And that might be good to touch on as well. When people come into town, it's so different with everybody. But just know that if it helps, this might help you, might give you some ease of knowledge to know how I work things. When people contact me or I contact them, we get to talking, and they're interested. They're very interested. They're semi-interested in coming to Boise, but they're wanting to visit to either see homes or kind of see how the area is. It sounds like Mark, that's kind of what you are. I was kind of feeling it out. What's all the hype about? Maybe I don't know. And so we'll actually hop on a Zoom call and we'll have a good little discussion about your wants and your needs. And also I'll share my screen so I can share my screen and introduce you more to Boise and show you where everything's at. And that is, I'm going to mute this. And that is good for you because you can get to know the area more and you can ask different questions about locations and commutes and things like that. But while at the same time, I, as your representative helping you buy, am able to learn what you like and expedite the process so we don't overpay and so we don't miss out anything on the market. 2 huge things for you so that we can make that shopping experience more efficient and better all around, because you're not missing out on any houses and you're also not going to overpay. That's the whole idea of that whole meeting. So we get on a Zoom call, and then when you come to town, you'll hop in my car. That way I can kind of act as a tour guide, city tour guide. It's kind of fun. And teach you about different areas. And so when we go into one neighborhood, you might say, "Man, I like that area. How close is it to work? How close is it here? What's the demographic here? How is it like A, B, or C, or D? How does it compare to where we've eaten or seen? Are there any good restaurants around, etc." So that's kind of the advantage of that. And then if it's just kind of like, hey, we're just going to just go check out Boise. You have some people who say, I don't actually really even want to see you, Brian, which is great. There's no problem with that. Maybe it's personal. I'm just kidding. But maybe it's you, Mark. You just want to come and just kind of tour the area. I will totally put a few coordinates on the map together to have you go drive and see those areas in Boise. So if you're thinking about retiring in Boise, and make sure you've checked out that retiring in Boise video that I've made. Boise has some, Idaho has some advantageous tax advantages to retiring here in Idaho. And it's, generally speaking, it's cheap. The one thing that's not cheap in Boise is now the real estate. Everything else, cost of living day to day, super cheap. So Mark, let me know if that answers your question, or if you want to know more about that process. I'm going off your guys' lead. So Kirk Lapine, your thoughts on Olive Tree and Spurwing in general? Cool. Yeah, Olive Tree. There's 2 builders in Olive Tree in that section of Spurwing. I love that location, right? That's a good location. If you're into the golf country club scene, Spurwing is that, right? So the pool is when you go get a burger and ice cream, you just put it on, you just tell them who you are, and you get your food. It kind of feels, a little first class service. There's events, there's kind of a community there. Neighbors get together, there's parties, things like that. The golf is nice. Only golf Spurwing once. It's I had is actually a family member who lived not in Olive Tree, but in Spurwing Greens. And so they had I think it's called a lifestyle membership to Spurwing Country Club. And so we were able to golf once a month at a discount. So I was able to go. Awesome course. Awesome course. So where it's at is North Meridian, and it sees over the bench. There's this bench that goes down. You can see Bogus Base and our ski hill. You can see another view up to the north. Really beautiful. Absolutely awesome. Olive Tree, if you're interested, I had somebody ask me about Olive Tree this couple weeks ago. Was it you, Kirk, in an email? If it was you, send me. Let's get on a phone call. There's a couple things I could talk about more there. But yes, I love that area. I live 2 miles north as the crow flies from Spurwing Greens, Olive Tree at Spurwing. And if you're a golfer, I had people who are actually building in. They came and visited, and they're actually going to build in Olive Tree, and they wanted that country club feel. So country clubs in Boise, if this helps you, is Spurwing, Hillcrest. There's Crane Creek, and I think those are the three. Country clubs that you can be a part of. Spurwing is definitely the newest. Hillcrest is where, when the web.com, I don't know if it's called web.com anymore, but when the Albertsons Open was happening, that's where they would do it, is at Hillcrest. So that is that kind of, I don't know if that answers what you're getting at with Spurwing and Spurwing Olive Tree at Spurwing. So thanks for the question, Kirk. Let's see. Klondike, how is property tax determined on the purchase of a new versus existing home? Perfect. So Lorna, hi. Thanks for Northeast Meridian. Lorna Kiddo, probably. How is the property tax determined? So there's a couple things with property taxes. So if it's your primary residence in Idaho, well, actually, let's back up. Idaho is a non-disclosure state. So in Idaho, once you buy your house, you don't need to tell Idaho how much you paid for your house. So that's important because the assessor determines the worth of your home, and they're always going to be low, right? So they don't want to have a million people lined out the door to contest their property values. So they're low, and they guess low, which is fine, which is good. But if it's your primary residence in Idaho, you are not taxed on the first $100,000 of value, and it's roughly 1%. We are budget based and it's not levy based. And so if we get let's say our budget from property taxes is at $1 billion. That's a lot, but $1 billion, actually, I don't know if it's a lot. It's a lot to me. And I don't study their balance sheets or their income statements, whatever it might be. Let's say it's at $1 billion, and you have, and this town has I think we're about 750,000 residents in the Treasure Valley. Let's say let's say the whole state of Idaho has 1 million residents, to make it easy. And the whole state of Idaho receives an influx of 2 times as many people that year. So we end the next year with 2 million people. The budget's still at 1 million. That means our taxes will decrease because we have hit that budget. So they'll spread that out proportionately through the budget, is how I understand it. It's how I understood from my brother-in-law who works on that type of stuff. If I'm wrong, I'm open to correction, but everything else, the 1% is a good rough idea. The 100,000 is not taxed on your first 100 if it's your primary residence. So that's how the property taxes work there, which is what I hear from Californians, is that's pretty advantageous to compared to other states. So since we're on disclosure as well, and with this increase in prices, your taxes aren't going up 2x. Mine are roughly have appeared to be roughly the same. Let me know if you have any more questions on property taxes. Klondike 22. Mark, shoot you an email. Cool. I'll look forward to it. And Lorna from Northeast Meridian. Okay, so Kirk Lapine. Yes, asked about the builders. Yeah. About the builders, I'd probably take that conversation offline. And we can talk there. Olive Tree seems to be one of the only areas where they're building with any lots left. And so I have builders that I prefer over others. And some that I know are more honest than others. And that might have been why I didn't directly answer your question on on someone, if that makes sense. So Stella Solomon, our bidding war is still raging. Yeah, so our bidding wars, I'm going to change your question, Dallas. Our bidding wars still happening? Yes. Are they still raging? And are they prevalent? Yeah, they're prevalent, but they're not happening on every home now. That's in the beginning of the live. That's what I was talking about with, we're just not in this increase where it was like March, April, May I kind of felt something changing, and I had a discussion with some agents at our brokerage about it. And then definitely we're seeing median days on market and things increase, and which is great, because we don't want to have this, all of a sudden we're at the Bay Area pricing and with absolutely not really much reason at all. Although while the reasons for people coming here are pretty clear to me who's coming here, I would bet that 90% of you at least are conservative, if you're from out of state, you're trying to get to a more conservative state in the West. You like four seasons. And I would say that's most of you, because that's everyone I've dealt with, and every one of my customers has been that way. That's moved from out of state, who's found me via YouTube. There have been some people who have been extreme conservatives, and there's some people who are just middle of the road conservative, but for the most part, that's who's talking to me. And that makes sense. I mean, that's who I am. And I'd say on some of my videos, I don't really care too much if you're, who you voted for. I have my preferences. You might have yours, but really the biggest indicator is that we can all talk, and but when I see people fleeing their state because of, I consider them, I just stole this term from another builder actually here in town, a political refugee. Then if you're a political refugee, just know that is very, very normal. You might feel like an outcast in your state, but here, that's who we're working with most of the time. So, so our bidding war is still raging. So they're happening on the cream puffs. I'm going to call like a home that's just perfect, right? Just absolutely perfect is going to be, there's still going to be a bidding war on it. So for example, Dallas, you have another question. How much over asking price of the house is going for? It really depends. So I have one listing. I had one listing last week, and it hit on Wednesday, and we were under contract on Friday. And it was, so on my listings, and I know this is at your market, on my listings, I will clean people's windows, their carpets, if they need it. I will send stagers in there. I will, and on my dime, and I put the state in this, so they stage the home and everything. And I do videos and all professional photography, the whole 9 yards. And so it looks fantastic and it feels fantastic. And we listed it for 388, and literally the day before I wanted to list it for 400, but I really didn't feel like the comps were there, and they didn't either. They were trying to push 390, and I'm just like, I don't know. The comps really aren't there. I didn't really try to lowball it. And it was an awesome house. It showed really well. It went for 404, and they removed the home inspection contingency to a point where if there's anything major, they could back out. We actually did find water in the crawl space on that home, and so they didn't want to back out. They just wanted us to clean that up. And then so that one went 16. Is that 16K over? Yeah, so 16K over. Well, at the same time, I have a house that's a 950 home, and homes like that 2-3 months ago we're still going for possibly 50,000 over list price, 100,000 over list price. If it was that cream puff and perfect and staged beautifully and updated and all that type of stuff, they were still going for crazy amounts over. And this one is a good home, very well kept. Maybe not updated 100%. In fact, they haven't updated since they bought it in 2006. So it has some touch of the 2006 era in it, and it still hasn't gone. So not every home. That's the beauty of what I'm seeing right now in this market. Instead of like this the whole way up, we're doing this, and then we're here. And that's what we're seeing right now, is this cooling, which is helping homes not go over the market on every single home. Homes where we have notes, us agents, when we do listings, we'll have notes that'll say, agent remarks will be like, hey, all offers will be collected and received by Monday at noon. Please have your offers submitted then. Here's your rules. This is what you need to do. And now we're seeing that come back to bite some sellers in the behind, because not every buyer wants to be in a bidding war. So they're going to go find homes that sometimes aren't in that please collect offers by such and such date, if that makes sense. So we're not seeing everything just be out of control, ludicrous. Some homes are beautiful homes, even priced under $500,000, and we're seeing some of those homes now go past the first weekend, which I'm going to give 2 thumbs up because it's showing some sort of balance in the market. People used to flee here because of home prices combined with that conservative lifestyle and Four Seasons. Now we're seeing most of it's the price is gone with real estate, but it's the reasons why they want to be here. That makes sense. Are houses selling above the Zillow estimates? Great question. I like Zillow. Zillow's got its place. I don't study Zillow's estimates. I mean, there's actually quite a few software valuation tools out there. Zillow's one of them. I don't know if it's under or over. Just with Zillow, I mean, it's very inconsistent, right? So if you have a house, they don't know if you've updated it. If you've updated it and Zillow doesn't know that, or you've added on and Zillow doesn't know that, then it's going to be under, right? Zillow's estimate's going to be under. Or what if you had 3 neighbors sell that updated their house and they sold for $1 million each? Yours is in shambles, and it says your SZ estimate is 900,000, but really, that yours hasn't been cleaned in years and it's disgusting. It's probably worth 500, right? And so, without going, it's just a computer software. It could be up, could be down. I honestly don't know. That'd be an interesting thing to find out, to aggregate data and see. Not sure when it's all said and done. But very interesting question. If you have any more questions on that, Lorna, let me know. And if you have an address, if you're trying to figure out your house price, then feel free to probably not chat it here. You can email me. My email, just in case people don't know where it's at, Brian@brianims. I can spell my last name, hymas.com. You can email me there if it has anything there, if that helped you. All right, Klondike, your thoughts on Hope Springs and Star? Nice. The development in general, and if you have any information about the price range of homes that are. Yeah, shoot, I should have the. I can probably find that real quick. Hope Springs. That one I might take offline because I do have to search that. If I can find it real quick. Pending in Hope Springs. Let me find it real quick. I live just a couple miles from there. Springs. There are 14 pending homes in that neighborhood right now. The lowest price is $446. The highest price is $725. Anywhere from 1,600 square feet to looks like about 2,300 square feet. 3-bed to 4-bed and 2-bath to 3-bath. Kind of gives you an idea. Those are Ted Mason and Tresidio. Who else is in there? I think Berkeley's in there. All good builders. No one to be afraid of there. If you have questions about Hope Springs further, that's an interesting. So you're totally doing your research. Klondike 22. Klondike, you asked about property taxes and Hope Springs. Klondike, have you been out to Hope Springs at all? Have you been out there? Because if so, you've pretty much driven by my house. But there are a couple miles. They're in Star. I'm in Eagle. But you can, Hope Springs is great. The lots are, they feel small. Let's see what they are in here. They're 0.175, 0.129, 0.132, 0.132, 0.132, 0.177. They're a little bit smaller. There's one that's 0.22, and that would be one of the larger lots there. They feel a little bit smaller, while at the same time, small is not a bad thing. Some people really like that, right? You've got neighbors, you don't have a ton of yard to maintain, and you're getting a nice home. At a very affordable price in the Star. So it's one of the advantages. 4 thumbs up. Thank you. I appreciate that. Didn't know that was there. Okay, I'm looking at my viewers, 17 of you. That's pretty good that's fun little thing for me to see. Oh, I said that and 3 of them you dropped off. Well, that wasn't a good thing. I won't ever mention that again. Dallas, how much over asking are homes going for? Yeah, the average. So I took a stat on this actually. So the average is hard. It's hard to answer that question because there are homes that still go way over asking. The average is actually really close to list price when you take into account all the overpriced homes, all the underpriced homes, all the median priced homes. And so I took a search this week on a certain city, and I can't remember, but it was well within one standard deviation, taking me back to stats class in high school. It was within like a percentage of what the list price was. And so again, it is Dallas. It's so hard. I wish I could just say, they're all going for over asking, or they're all going for list price or whatever it might be. But really, it's a general. It's like a cop out, but it's so true. Every house is so different, and if you like, every realtor's had it. When you have a seller who wants to list their house for $1 million and it's only worth 800, what are you supposed to do? Say no? So you just let the market finally take that house price down to 850, and finally someone takes an 800 offer. Eventually sells for where it needs to go, which is sad, or it goes for 775 because they just didn't price. If they list at 800, that house would, might go for 825, 850. Dallas, do you have a price range you're kind of more interested in that would help me kind of tell you what to expect, or an area of town that you love? And tell me where you're from, Dallas, and where you're looking. That might help me come to a better answer for you. Let's see. Klondike, thanks for answering all our questions about taxes. We love your videos on the Treasure Valley. Klondike 22. That makes my heart sing. Thank you. It's fun. It's been super fun. I was a digital marketer before I was a real estate agent. However, I was an appraiser before I was a digital marketer. So I did appraising in 2007, 2009, and then 2013, 14, maybe even sooner. About that time, I started to get interested in Google and kind of how to provide information to viewers on the other side, and how to gear that information to them so that they actually want to consume it. And that's kind of helped me in this YouTube world. So to provide good information for you, that's my goal. I truly want to give you guys the best information. In fact, I just had a conversation with a software developer trying to develop something cool for Boise, and in the real estate and all that type of stuff, which actually would be a fun way to do it. And not, anyway, my whole point is it's all for you. It's really all geared towards the home buyer, home shopper, and which is, I'm guessing that if I ever do a show of hands, I bet you hope. In fact, I'd love to see that. If you can chat, are you a seller, or would you consider yourself a seller or a buyer? And if you are none, if you're neither, if you're just here for good times and good entertainment value, then there's got to be something better on TV, first of all. And second of all, you don't have to answer. I'd love to see if you're a seller or a buyer. And it doesn't matter if it's just curiosity. Curiosity is going to kill the cat here. What are the reasons for this cooling period in the home sales? That's such a good question. I have my theories, but in February and March, I feel like I just saw more of the craze over the political divide and how that kind of affected people moving here. I think it's really going to cool off once school starts. And I say in terms of number of calls and activity of my business, which would be one small indicator of the Boise Valley real estate market. And just because I see more conservative families that I talk to, and I just foresee not a lot of people wanting to come in that September time when school is just starting up again. So that's just my own thought. I don't know if that's true. What's the reason for the cooling up? And I would say also, Hope Hills International Ministry here. Have I met you? I feel like I've heard of that, Hope Hills. I feel like I've heard of that. So I feel like I've talked to you in person. Another reason for the cooling off, I would say I've had a few people come from California. I've had two or three who have said legitimately, I can get more house in California than I can get in Boise. I'm not coming. I've had a few people in the last couple of weeks tell me I'm not coming anymore, and they didn't tell me why. I usually just tell them, thanks, and if I can help you in the future, let me know, type of thing. And I've had some people legitimately just have Boise's prices or more. And so we're getting to a point where we might be reaching not a ceiling, but we might be hitting a ceiling that can be adjusted or moved. But that's just my own 2 cents. And it's not my own 2 cents. It's what I am seeing firsthand. There might be another realtor out there. There is another realtor out there who's seeing different things than me. So that's just my own take. I recently heard about a friend of mine building there in Eagle. Cool, good place. And the contractor raised the price mid-build. I don't know all the details, but have you heard of that yet? Yeah, it does happen. It does happen, but it's all about how the contract is structured. And I have a video of why you want a realtor when you get into contract. There are so many things like that where we can look over the contract, and they're probably not going to change their contract, but to have someone actually read over that. Remember, when you build with someone, they already have the contracted price of what they're going to pay the buyer's sales rep, which is me, the buyer's agent. They already have that because they've already worked that out. So if you go to them and you're not represented and you use their contract and you build, you are paying, seller's agent to represent the seller and you, and they have loyalty to that seller because they do a lot of build jobs with them. And when you do that, you sacrifice some representation. Naturally, they can try at their best to represent both of you with confidentiality and fairness and equality. But I'm here to say, I'm going to boldly say that if the buyer says it one way and you felt another way, they're wanting to push that sell and get double commission. You're not saving anyone the commission. Find somebody, whether it's me or your other favorite realtor, who's who you gravitate towards, whatever it might be, because that is going to save you a lot of headache. Trust me, it's and there's times when we can. I had somebody the other day ask me about a certain builder. I ignored the question because I have seen dishonesty with that builder, and I'm not going to recommend anyone ever builds with them. And I don't know if I'm going to flat out ever say that, this is my experience, but we have experience with builders. We're 200 agents by brokerage. We talk all the time on the pros and cons of different builders around the valley. As soon as one builder blows that trust, it travels like wildfire. I just sent there's just so many things. So that's just one of many factors. Does it happen? Yes, Tim, it does. The right builder, it will not happen. And Tim, in that situation, they most likely will be showing receipts. And so that is, might be a cost plus 10 or a cost plus 20, whatever. And so in that situation, you can also side with the builder and say, I see why they did that, right? It's in their contract. It's protecting them. So that's just one of many things. So we did a quick trip up here, Klondike 22. We made a quick trip to the area a couple months ago. We were taken with Star and Lake Hope Springs, but didn't look like much of the neighborhood had been built yet. Yeah, it's looking a little different now. I'm guessing you got there probably March, maybe February, unless it was legitimately 2 months ago. That would be, we're in the month of 7, that'd be May. Now there's one section, there's one section that's still being built out in Hope Springs, and it might have I haven't seen the whole plat, but there might be other sections. Dallas Solomon, message retracted. Do not compromise. Buyer, do not compromise. You made a comment on a video the other day. I remember talking to you, Kirk, your buyer. Jay Law, what are your thoughts on Emmett? Emmett's good. So it is interesting. Emmett's only 20 minutes from here. You get a little bit cheaper, like a crazy. It even feels crazy to say this. Like a 3-bed, 2-bath, maybe with an office on a 0.2 acres, new build in Emmett. We're looking at $500,000. That would be about, I don't know, 700 and now 650 in Eagle probably. It'd probably be closer to 575 in Meridian. But we're looking at costs. Costs are just crazy. Emmett as a whole, I could live in Emmett. Emmett's a little bit more, I don't want to say podunk because it kind of makes it feel like it's out in the middle of nowhere or something, but definitely a more down-to-earth community than, for sure, Eagle. Definitely more down-to-earth community than Meridian. You have a Dairy Queen there. You have a place that's good raspberry shakes. I can't remember what it's called. You have a Sonic. You have a couple grocery stores. It's a fun little community. And then when you drive over the hill and you can see the valley and it's all green. It's kind of cool. If you have any more questions about Emmett, I don't do a lot of tours or anything of Emmett. It's kind of secluded, while at the same time, it's probably going to be a good area to be in. So, I may have missed your second question. Let's see here. Hope Hills, what are the reasons for the cooling off? Are the infrastructure issues in the valley catching up with the population increase? Well, can you define the infrastructure issues you're seeing or hearing about? And then I can maybe talk to that. I will talk about roads. Boise's on a grid system, and I talk about this in a lot of my videos. Boise's on a grid system, which is great. So easy to get around. But also, and I say this in one of my videos, if you have to go 2 miles north and 1 mile west to your final destination, you can get there by going a mile west, then 2 miles north. You can get there by going a mile, or you can go 2 miles and 1 mile. So all those cars are doing the same thing. You can choose 55 miles an hour the whole time with more cars. You can choose less cars with 35 miles an hour the whole, And so it kind of averages out to be the same. A lot of the road construction is catching up. I would say we're doing a lot better job. I think they've really tried. I actually know one of the, we run off the Ada County Highway District, and one of the commissioners for, I don't know if he's one of or the head commissioner, but he puts a lot of surveys and cares about his job. And he's trying to really get a feel for what people are wanting. We've had some projects run out of money, I know for sure. When all is said and done, I'll take waiting 3 times at one stoplight over taking 45 minutes to get home when you live 3 miles away from work. So for the most part, I try to avoid Eagle Road myself. I moved away from Eagle Road and moved into Eagle on purpose, but that's one of the infrastructure issues. Roads, retail, schools, and services. Roads, yeah, I just touched on that. Retail, I'm not familiar with what the retail issues are here. And they're definitely very well could be, just don't know. Schools, there's some overcrowding in schools. Yeah, I'd say that's for sure there. Well, at the same time, I feel like that's always been an issue. There's always been class sizes that have been over what they should be. I should get, I want to actually ask you guys a question. This is a good time for that question because I would love to know, for those especially that watch my channel, I do a lot of the same videos in terms of format. I've been thinking about bringing on people to interview and changing up the setting just a little bit. If I were to bring on people to interview, who would those people be for you? Would they be school principals? Would they be the Ada County Highway District Commissioner? Would they be mayors? Would they be police? Would they be teachers? Would it be Parks and Rec? I mean, who would you guys want to see? Or is that just a terrible idea? Let me know. Love to see that. So school and services. I would say roads are the thing that I feel like are the most talked about. I know Star Elementary School is super close, and they had some infrastructure problems, and in terms of keeping up. But they've built out, and they're doing pretty well right now. Let's go here. Let's see. Do not buy or buy. That's an Emmett. CBH. Do not compromise. Can you do not compromise? Can you talk about CBH a little bit? And all I see is CBH, which you might have a good spin or a bad spin on that acronym, whatever it means to you. Where does the public water come from? So it comes from Lucky Peak Reservoir, and it comes from what's that? The New York Canal. And then there's also the little divisions and things. There's some other little creeks and streams, but for the most part, the New York Canal splits off from the Boise River and delivers water to most of the valley, as I understand it. There's wells and things too, but that's my biggest understanding. If I could share my screen, I'm sure there's a way to share your screen. I've seen a couple companies that do like live streams for YouTube that I can actually share my screen. I totally would right now. If you look on your map, if you go to Lucky Peak Reservoir, it's on the southeast corner of Boise. There's a canal that spurts off from there. It's called New York Canal, and a lot of water comes from there. Let's see here. Second question. What do you think of Garden Valley, Lorna? I want to get a second home in Garden Valley. Only an hour away from Boise. Lush in the winter. The elk, a reserve to go to is like a 200 elk. In fact, you can go feed the reindeer, and it's just elk you're feeding. They're pretty well accustomed to humans. Super beautiful. They have a nice Garden Valley as a whole. Garden Valley, Crouch. The Payette Rivers, Starlight Mountain Theater in the summer. Awesome stuff. I'm not sure, Lorna, what's your take on Garden Valley? Because you live in Northeast Meridian, you said, or is it Northwest? I think it was Northeast Meridian. What's your question geared towards real estate wise? Because their properties are worth a lot more now than they were a while ago too, right? So let me know what your question is geared towards. Tim Solano. Tim, we looked at Riverstone and loved it. I love it too. How was Tresidio as a builder and to deal with them? Tim, they're awesome. I have a story about Tresidio that I like to tell people. So Tresidio had a builder for them. I'm not going to say his name, but he went off and split off and he did his own company. But before he did so, he told the owners of Tresidio he's quitting. And before he left, Tresidio sat him down and said, "Hey, we just wanted to give you a few pitfalls to avoid. So can we take you out to lunch?" And they laid out the whole golden blueprint of how to run a good business. And they did that to a future competitor. Now that builder doesn't really exactly build in the same area. He actually builds a higher scale home overall than Tresidio, just because they're usually larger and more custom. But Tresidio is still doing semi-custom. They've had the discussions. Most people went away from semi-custom. Tricidio was one of that stayed. And if you're looking to deal with Tricidio and you don't obviously not committed to someone, let me know. I would love to help you with Tricidio and Riverstone. Riverstone, I actually live like a mile as the crow flies to Riverstone. Never actually had a home in Riverstone go through. Is that true? Yeah, but awesome. I've toured probably that neighborhood probably 30 different times with out-of-staters. If you haven't looked at it, it's pretty cool. It's got clubhouse on the water. It's got walking paths. It's got a state-of-the-art gym. It's gated as well. Not too many gated places in Boise overall. So pretty cool place. Dallas J-Law says thanks, and I say you are welcome. You're welcome. House built after 1990 list for 600,000, 21 square feet with a large yard. Will there be multiple offers over list price? That one is going to be, I would say, good example. Good example in this market. I would say we're starting to see maybe, and this is a stab. I'd have to pull up the MLS to officially comment on this. And if you want like the official, Dallas, send me an email. Let me put my email in there again, just in case it's getting lost again. Send me an email on that, brian@brianhymas.com, and I will pull some official stats and send them to you. I'm going to say that most of those or half of those aren't going the first weekend at this point. Yeah, I had a buyer looking for a little bit more square footage than that, and a year ago, and they finally found something in April, and I was very familiar with that market when I was looking at those homes. And now it's kind of a stab. So I'd like to make sure that MLS backs up my dad on that one. But yeah, it's good question. Good question for sure. Let's see here. We can buy in the future. All of the above. Interview all. Well, thank you for your work. Yeah, cool. Thanks for responding to that. Hope Hills. I swear I know you. I'll try to get some of those interviews going. Looking to buy in the future. Are you looking to buy in Garden Valley? I might want to get out of Meridian when the population can get to be too much. Yeah, Meridian's growing a lot, isn't it? Do you believe the copper in the pipes are ready to still water around, or will be graced by you in the night's watch? Do you believe the copper in the pipes are ready to still water? Kev, if you can, Riverstone have copper pipes as okay. Klondike 22 for interviews. People who have recently relocated from other states, interior designers from both semi-custom and production builders, mayors, key employers, leaders. I love it. Klondike, thank you. Just our 2 cents. Your 2 cents is worth $2, so you 200x'd. Thank you. For who you should interview, lean into why we're looking at Boise region, political representatives, college tour, job market growth. Cool. J-Law, are you looking at Boise? Are you looking at Boise? Or are you looking at other areas? When people ask about Boise and things, the Boise center, downtown Boise, you're looking at a little bit more left leaning. So same with Southeast Boise, and then a lot of the other areas you're looking at more conservative, especially when you get out of Boise. So that's stuff that's good. Let's see. Cool. So Hope Hills, looking in from Manila, Philippines. My family and I are missionaries here in the greater Manila areas, thinking of moving to Idaho soon. Cool. I have, in fact, they might even be watching right now. I'm not sure. I have a few people who help me. 2 of those people are in my business, and 2 of them live in the Philippines. They live in, I can't remember the translation. It's something with gold, but anyway, it's not on the same island as Manila. But they totally help me with my businesses, and they're totally awesome. So familiar a little bit with the Philippines, familiar that they speak Tagalog over there, but good stuff. Kev, yes, you did confuse me. You talk a lot of crap. I think that's what you're trying to say. And Dallas, thanks for the information. So cool. 45 minutes. We have 14 people still on. Is there anyone of those 14 people who still has a question or 2 to ask? There's a little bit of a delay. It's about a 10-second delay in when I'm talking and when it's showing up to you. So I'm just going to wait just a second and give you guys a chance to get on here and talk and ask a question if you need it. This has been super good for me to see some of your questions as well, because it helps me just kind of peek into your guys' lives. And If you guys have anything else, I'm happy to hear questions about Boise. I've had people get in the car and have questions about me. I'm happy to answer those too. Anyway, but so let me know how I can best help you. If you want to get off subject with questions. Oh, and also before you go, Tim, J. Law Dallas, Klondike, before you go, I'm thinking about doing this every other week or weekly. Would this be helpful for you guys? To do these live Q&As, or do you have, I would love to just create as much value as I can if it's weekly or if it's not. So let me know also in the comments what you want to see there. That you're welcome, Tim. Maybe interview Ammon Bundy. Yeah, he's running for governor. He's he even said in the interview, I think he's just pretty polarizing figure, stands up for what he believes is right. I'm not sure I agree with some of his tactics, but he definitely tries to stand up for what he believes is right, which is great. That's a admirable quality for anybody in whatever their views are. You bet. Hope Hills, you're welcome. You're welcome. And Lornath, you're welcome. If you guys have any other things, please email me, brian@brianjimenez.com. Any other questions or anything you want to see in the future, please do hit me up. I'm happy to answer those. And until next time, if someone's typing, I'll give you 10. I've had that happen. I'm typing to some closes alive. 10 seconds. Yeah, it can be. And if there's something in my videos I'm not covering, please let me know. Whether it's pros and cons or whether it's weather or whatever it might be. I knew it. Katie Ann writes, if I buy a house for $400, does it mean that charge from the loop, or would I stream the charge from the loop, or would I stream the ESP from the roof? Not sure. Okay, let's get off Katie Ann. All right. You're welcome. And love spammers. This is great. Okay, well, this thing, spammers getting a hold of us, and you're welcome, Klondike. And we'll see you guys next time. Appreciate it.